Alright, in this video, I had the idea of speaking a little bit more on the present moment. It's, I just got done with my meditation, and this is kind of what came up. I'm not really sure where it's going to go, but I'm just going to kind of freewheel and see what comes up. Because if I'm going to talk about the present moment, I'm going to be in the present moment. So, some of the things I was thinking of while I was in meditation was to be more in the present moment about the creation is from the present moment. And it started to get me to think about brain waves because most of the time in waking state when we're uh, awake and doing things and taking action and doing whatever it is we do every day, we're in beta. And depending on how everything's going, like our emotions determine what phase of beta we're in. Like if we're in anger and frustration and all that stuff, that's like a higher level, faster moving wave because that's the energy of those emotions is fast. Where like calmness, joy, peace, all that stuff's a slow, like low beta, and maybe even slipping into alpha. And that's what meditation does is it helps you change state from beta to alpha. Like when you measure someone's brain waves after they meditate, they slow down. They're in that like thing I've talked about it before, the slower alpha. And it doesn't mean that we don't need beta, because we do. Beta is where we take action, the things we do, and we just don't want to be on that upper level of beta. And I feel like the more that we're in the present moment, the more that we, focus on being here now brings that down. Because again, we're focused so much on the future and the past that sometimes we're not here. And there's a movie called The Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. It's a story about his life, and he talks about that, about when we're worried too much about the future or the past, we're not here now in this present moment. He was a gymnast back in the 70s at Cal Berkeley, and he used this stuff to, make the Olympics and win the national championship at Cal. And to be more focused on what we're doing right now, like breathe into the present moment. Like that's why I like to come on here with the videos because like I want to be here and see what comes out. But if I'm worried about what I'm going to do later or worried about what happened in the past, well, then I ain't here present trying to focus and talk about whatever it is that comes to mind. And I feel like that's what meditation does is it helps you get into that state of present moment awareness. And that when we're focused on what we can do here and now, the things we can do are like the crazy because I also read Dan Millman's book. It's called, I think it's Mind Body Something for Life, Sports and Life or something. I read this book and then I started practicing those things when I was playing softball, like being in the present moment. Like between pitches, I would, tell myself to like relax, focus, and be in this moment. And then the more I started to do this, now again, we're all human, we forget things. But the more I did this, the more I was able to like make some plays that I don't even know how I made sometimes. And I sometimes I would sit there and say, whatever that energy is inside of our body, to use that energy to take over. So that's kind of what I was thinking about too, is like focusing in that present moment gives us a connection to our divine soul. Like our soul is the present moment. The present moment is the doorway to our souls. Because when we're worried too much about the future and the past, that's more the 3D. That's more of the action or whatever's already happening to us. And that's the stuff that takes us away and that draws our energy into the future or back into the past. And we want all of our energy in right now because I can't do anything about what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't do anything about what happened in the past other than learn from it. So why not focus in on what I can do now and create something now that will change the future? Or you just create the same things and your past becomes your new future. The only way you create something new is in this present moment by the decisions you make, whether you want to focus on now and create or just replay what's already happened. So went off on a tangent there. So, oops, wrong side. So that's why it's better to be in the moment and go from whatever it is. So, hmm. And oh yeah, and I was going to like breathe into it at the beginning, and I kind of got started and forgot. So right now, I kind of want everybody to just close your eyes with me and take a few deep breaths, like, and be in this moment to kind of relax. So, and sometimes it's good to focus your attention right in that spot between your eyes. Focus on the blackness that's right there in the spot between your eyes and just breathe. Just breathe into the present moment. One more big deep breath. And out. Now slowly open your eyes with me. And see, just by doing that for a couple seconds will bring you like calm peace into this moment and helps you focus on where you're at now. Instead of all that stuff on the outside that brings your attention out from within here. So that's why I think the 3D world is where we take the action, is from what we create. It is where we need that high beta, that, or maybe not high, just beta, because beta's action. I feel like alpha's creation and beta's action. You can create out of beta too, no doubt about it. You can create out of anything. But some of the best states and best things I've created have come out of these alpha states that I get into. When I breathe into the moment, like I was talking about in softball, and just be present in that moment and let the energy and let that soul that's inside of us. Because when we close our eyes, we cut off our only thing that roots us in the 3D world is our eyes, and which is our five senses. But it's our eyes because we can see, and it's our ego and our mind because that's what roots us in this present moment, roots us in this 3D world. But the soul exists in the 4D and the 5D. When you close your eyes, you cut off from the 3D. You're on the inside. Now, me talking keeps us, a little bit rooted in the outside 3D. But when you breathe in silent and focus on that blackness that's inside, that's the quantum field. That's the quantum realm. That's where the soul exists, is somewhere outside, somewhere in that realm of darkness. Just like the Big Bang, everything came out of nothing. Well, your soul comes from that area too, of nothing. And when you breathe, when you meditate, you are able to touch that part of yourself, see that part of yourself, become one with that part of yourself. That's what it all is, and that's why we meditate, so we can. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it to become familiar with. We become familiar with our soul. We become familiar with that deeper rooted part of ourselves. Now, again, sometimes you have to go like when I first started meditating. Sometimes the first year was really an up and down cycle, but we were told it was going to be like that. So at least I knew that you release some of that energy because when you do go inside, you are going to find parts of yourself that may not be great. But it's also good to get to these parts of yourself so you can release them. I've explained experiences where sometimes in meditation I've remembered things from my past that were negative. And then now that I'm an adult, I was like, oh, you know what? That wasn't my fault. That was that other person's fault having a bad day. And they took it out on me when I was a kid. I didn't know that. I didn't know how everyday reality is. Sometimes we all have emotions. We all flip out. We all lose them from time to time, and that's just part of being human. But having that awareness that, hey, you know what, maybe I did lose myself for a minute there, I'm sorry. Just the other night, Gino Auriemma, same thing. The emotions got the best of him at the end of the game. He reacted in ways he probably wasn't, you know happy with when he finally calmed down. But when we're in those emotional states, sometimes we do things we're not proud of. But that's okay, because to be human and to be, you know, realizing those things makes us stronger, makes us grow as a human being. So we need to get to those states on the inside to learn some of these, or maybe even let go of some of these experiences we've had. Because I've learned over the last few years that some of these experiences were stopping me from becoming and getting on here and being myself. Because we're not always conscious of them, but they're there in your energy field. And if you don't deal with them, they stay there. And yes, it's difficult at times. You know, there were some days where I was very emotional, and yeah, I had ups and downs. But then I remembered, you're releasing some emotions, just let it go. It'll get better. And it did. And there was highs and lows, but we're trying to get to that straight, even keel. But that's not, it's life. It's not always like that. We're going to have days where we're not feeling great. I mean, even before today, like I was kind of down the last few days. But that's okay, because I learned from it. I realized what was going on, and I learned from it. But that's the thing, is we have to be strong, and we have to look inside, and we have to learn to let go of those things, because we're always so, like, I don't know, judgmental about stuff. When people judge us about everything, we're compared to everything, we're always in competition with other people. And I get it. Competition does bring out the best of you. Like, you definitely, if you play sports, you got to have somebody on the other side trying to beat you. But you also have to remember that you becoming the best player you can be, you focusing on you, will actually bring out the best in you, and then it won't worry about it. Because I always, one of my thoughts is like, don't focus on winning. Focus on what I can do to become a better player. And if you can get every person on a team doing that, then they're going to win. And like, Colby and Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan and all of them learned to meditate. They learned all this stuff, and then they, executed it. And that's what made them reach that other level, is that they were using parts of themselves that other people weren't. And like I said, nothing wrong with that. You do you. But if you want to, like Wayne Dyer, one of my favorite authors, used to always say, if you want to reach your highest level, you just have to, you got to learn to meditate every day. And then I thought, yeah, you're crazy. I can't even meditate for 5 minutes before I started learning how. But here I am, almost 20 years later, and I've done it every day. But for a long time, in my late, mid to late 20s, I never thought I would reach that day. And then it just came out of nowhere. I went on a retreat, and the next thing you know, there we go. But I never thought I was going to do it. We all have these thoughts in our heads that we can't do stuff. And you know what? Those things probably, they don't really go away. It's just that you have to learn a way to navigate around them or through them, and not listen to them all the time, or use them as fuel to engage more. So, but it all starts with being more present. And Dr. Joe was talking about that too, is that being more present and focusing on right now in this moment is a better way to bring your energy back from the 3D and all that stress and stuff, and of what we're told we should do. And when I was talking about competition, where I was going with that was that the only person you're in competition was the person you were yesterday. Dean always says that. Dean Graziosi always says it. We are a culture of progress. It's all about progress. It's all about becoming better. And the only person you have to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to compete with everybody else, it, you're going to lose energy, because you're focusing more on the 3D, because you're letting the other people determine how you feel about yourself. And that's just, I mean, it's not going to work out in the end. 9 times out of 10. I mean, maybe somewhere along the lines it might, just on talent alone. But for the most part, if you can learn to maximize the alpha and the beta, and do both, then you can ascend to a level that you probably never thought was possible. I know there was times when I played softball that I even amazed myself sometimes at how good of plays I was making at days. And I just sat there focused on the moment and said, let the energy of the universe guide me to making these plays. And I would see it, and I would visualize before. And that's the thing, is like feel it, be it, and visualize it, and be in the present moment more. And then you're able to do more and create more. It's like a process of being here now, being centered, and then letting it all out, which is kind of what I try to do in my videos. So try to do it in anything in your life. Try to be present in anything that you do. Because in the movie, Dan Millman, like he was the guy that was training him was making him sweep, and he's like, "How does a warrior, you know, have to sweep?" And it's like, no, it's teaching you to be present in no matter what it is that you're doing. Because we always think we have to be doing more or some grand thing to have a good experience. And sometimes it's just a mundane thing as sweeping. Be present, do the best you can at whatever it is that you're doing in this moment, and then go from there. And the more you do this, the more you will become better. You will get better. The more I did this, the more I practiced these things, the better I got at playing softball. Now, again, I wish I would have known this earlier, because I had my three best seasons when I was like 39, 40, and 41. I wish I would have known this stuff when I was in my 20s, but I know it now. And that's what I want to do, is I want to teach it. I want you guys to understand that anyone can do this. Anyone can focus in on the present moment. Anybody can close their eyes, breathe into the moment, and touch their own soul and learn from it. Get quiet. Oh yeah, and that was the last thing, is how they say is prayer is you talking to God, and meditation is him talking to you, because he comes through that. I believe that the universe or whatever it is on that alpha wave, and that's where you get the answers and the questions. You're not always going to get the answers right away, but the more you practice this stuff, the more you do it, the more it'll benefit your life. So yeah, that's my message for today. Like and subscribe, comment, ask any questions, anything you got. And just remember, all you gotta do is cut yourself off from the outside world for a little bit every day, and you will definitely start to feel better, and you'll definitely get stronger. So, have a good day, guys.